So, I just got done watching Nesha, the Chinese 2019 animated movie about the mythological character Nesha. I got I got interested in this movie a couple of years ago when I watched a certain YouTuber. I'm sorry, I don't remember um, who talked about this upcoming Chinese animated movie that looked like nothing he had ever seen before. And me myself, I'm a huge fan of manga, Dragon Ball, and generally stuff where the characters have explosive superpowers and transformations and stuff like that. And this, when you see something like a trailer and it just clicks with you immediately, you watch it and are like, I'm gonna like this. And then it sort of fell off my radar for a long time, for several years. And then one day I was like, wait a minute, what was that weird Chinese movie I once saw a trailer to, and I believe that Nesha was it. I could be wrong, and the movie I actually saw a trailer to back then I still haven't found, but I'm pretty sure it was this. So I I live in Europe, so and the movie hasn't been distributed here to my knowledge. So but it has been released in the States. So I had to go other ways to watch it. But watch it I did, and and I was positively surprised. No, I wouldn't say positively surprised, because like I said before, I pretty much thought that I knew that I would like it based on what I had seen. But what I mean is that it delivered everything that I had hoped for, except that, or not except, but I'm old and boring, so I like when, and I've always liked when cartoons take themselves seriously, even as a child, because if a cartoon takes itself serious, like Watership Down or Redwall or stuff like that, if it takes itself seriously, then I feel that it takes me seriously. And I've always enjoyed a good story that does that, which is why I love stuff like Naruto. But although I like the characters, I can't really stomach something like Fairy Tail, because while it does have a good story, I hate that thing where um, an an important or a serious moment is always followed up by a joke, because then this heavy moment just falls flat on its face, like, oh yeah, your grandpa just died, now let's party. No, drop that. I want I don't mind humor, but I don't like when humor comes at the cost of the serious moments. and and so when I sat down and watched Nesha, um, and you know, it's important for a movie to quickly establish what kind of movie it wants to be. Is this serious? Is this comedy? Is it a mix of both? Or what the hell is it? And so when I saw that I mean, I knew from again from screenshots and stuff, this kid who is an unruly rascal. But the movie quickly set this comedic tone where I was like, oh, am I gonna like this? Um, but then it also quickly introduced itself as this, as I had hoped, as this action movie, and I wouldn't even say that the jokes go that there are too many or that they go too far, because I felt the more that I watched that it was the perfect blend between the two. That yes, it has some humor, some very modern humor, like when and this is as spoiler free as I can get. But when this guy who has to unlock this this egg that contains these two important orbs or spirits or whatever, he has to remember the password, and then he there's this hologram that appears in front of the egg, where he is like, like on a smartphone, and he's like, no, that wasn't the password, and this character says, what happens if you can't guess the password within 5 tries? Oh, then it locks and we'll have to try again in 10 years. I was like, okay, good one. And the movie is filled with modern jokes like that. And it's, the movie is supposed to be set in this ancient China, but I feel that it works. And again, I didn't mind this humor because it didn't get in the way. It didn't come at the cost of the action scenes or of the heavy moments, like when a character is emotionally scarred. It doesn't follow up immediately with a joke, and I really appreciated that, because again, anything else ruins all emotion in the movie for me. So I felt again that it was the perfect blend between the two. I've said that a lot already, and while minor spoiler. While we don't really see much of, on the front cover, there's this blue guy and this red guy. The red guy is a certain character's true transformation, and like in Marvel movies, when you watch an origin movie. A character's true powers are never revealed until the very last minute, and that's true for this movie as well. You don't see this transformation until the very end and for a very brief time, but goddamn, when it finally appeared, it was so mwah. Also because it's not like you sit and are like, when is it gonna happen? Because you get to know this character throughout the movie, and are like, I'm not just here to watch them transform and be a badass. I'm also here for their story, to see them grow and go from being this hated by everyone. It's kind of a Naruto story with the main character. But when it finally happened, it was sweet, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it. The choreography in this movie is fantastic. The animation is great too, and it's it sets up for a sequel, because I can already tell you that, because while some issues do get resolved in the movie, within the movie's 1 hour 50-minute runtime, you sit at the end and are like, wait a minute, those villains over there, what's gonna happen to them? And so in the credits, it actually says, don't worry, there'll be more. And according to a quick Google search, more will in fact come in about a year's time. One news site stated 2023, I think. And the reason I made the Marvel comment is that also according to my sources, uh, this is China hopes, or the company who makes these movies hopes that this is gonna be their equivalent to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where they are gonna this is the first, and then last year they released another movie that I first thought was the sequel I had been hoping for. So when I sat and watched it, I was like, "Where's Nesha?" But this movie still takes place in the Nesha universe, so I imagine all these movies. I mean, Nesha released in 2019, so this cinematic universe is still rather young, but it's gonna be a series of movies, I believe, that all focus on different Chinese mythological characters, because Nesha is apparently a Chinese mythologic character, and so is this guy that we follow in the sequel. And I'm gonna watch that too at some point, of course, because again, mythological creatures and stuff like that, I love it. I mentioned Naruto, and many things in Naruto was based on Japanese mythology, after all, like the nine-tailed fox and many other things. So yeah, while some things remain unresolved at the end of Nesha, because again they are making a sequel, I feel that this movie is still good enough on its own. It has a good runtime. It has good and lovable characters. It has a main character that you really root for, although he is a bastard sometimes, without ever becoming straight up evil. Has good humor, good animation. Like I said, I watched it in English, and great voice acting too across the board. In my opinion, I was surprised to see. I forget his name in the moment, but Eggman is the voice of this character I mentioned, who forgot the password to the egg. And I actually reached out to him on Twitter and was like, what was that like? What was it like to get picked for a Chinese animated picture of all things? And of course he was like, he was like, oh, it was a great experience, and I wouldn't mind at all going back to it whenever a sequel arrives. And from what I understand, this movie was actually an overnight success over in China. Earned really big, and which is why a sequel is coming. And really, it really, from what I understand, kickstarted animation in China, or rather it put Chinese 3D animation back on the map, which is a great thing. I mean, give it to me. Animation from all over the world. I mean, it's not only Disney Pixar who can deliver this stuff, or the Japanese for that matter, although they are still more into traditional 2D animation, and God bless them for it, because that's something I really miss about Disney Pixar. Although not saying their recent 3D movies are not great, they are, but nostalgia, right? So that was my quick thoughts. I thought it was gonna be about Nesha. Again, to summarize, great mix between humor, comedy, and action. Great characters, great character development, voice acting, animation, all that jazz. If you have any way of getting in in possession of this movie, I highly recommend it. So yeah, that was all for me. Talk to you later.